All right, everybody. We're just waiting on Bobby, and then we'll attack this very news-driven. Is it a news-driven slate? Yeah, I guess it's considered a news-driven slate. So we got my DraftKings thing up here. We have FanDuel up over here. We're going to get my grid up over here as well. And we're going to have to figure out the best way to attack all these different sports that are going to be coming down the pike. With any luck, there is, we have no NASCAR nor MMA this weekend, so the weekend could be at least somewhat manageable. We did the golf, got through that, and tomorrow is opening day of baseball. We already did our baseball. Preview, and I guess tomorrow maybe we'll do a live before lock baseball. I mean, whatever Bobby wants to do. Just a lot going on tomorrow. You have to see how best way to handle my time, because I know I have to be somewhere at a certain time, and I have some other calls and some other things I'm doing tomorrow, so we have to see how that works. Yeah, I guess everybody's really conditioned to be only ready at 6 o'clock because they popped it in a little bit early. But feel free to fire off some comments, some what was I going to say? Some questions on here. Because what's interesting is not the majority of the news, but there's news that could come out of the Houston game. There is news that, I mean, in my opinion, is going to come out of that Chicago game. It's just, you know what? It's just a really weird comment for Billy Donovan to make with respect to Zach LaVine. So for him to say, oh, the ankle doesn't look good. I actually don't think it's like a fait accompli that he doesn't play, but I do think that it's more likely than not that he doesn't play. I would actually, I don't know, if you put a gun to my head, I would say both. Would I say both White and LaVine don't play? It's possible. I know it's possible, but the reason why it's important to speculate is we have to really figure out from a construction and planning perspective how much to push everything out towards the end. Like if you wanted to go and play somebody like Saban Lee or Hamidou Diallo, which was in the early game, you just know that you're just giving up a slot where you could be using for maybe a better play in that Chicago game, whether it be Satoransky or some other situation. There's Bobby coming right on in there.
Crazy day, huh, man?
We got new stuff?
No, it's just been like I literally haven't moved since I talked to you at whatever this morning for me, and I've just been locked in on golf, on baseball for tomorrow, on basketball for tonight. Last not big slate, but last like giant, probably multi-entry, hundreds of lineup slate I'll play for a while because of the baseball.
Until Friday, right?
Until Friday comes around. No, I mean just because we it's just with a million games. It's I love it. I think I've done very well in these situations, but it's with baseball coming up, it's just going to be hard to manage the news. There's probably going to be site freezing issues. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, and I just don't want to be a part of that nonsense.
What I was bringing up to the group before is while it's out in the future, I think we have to plan somewhat for this Chicago thing because
I'm with you 100%.
Because it affects how much you push everything else out, right? Like if you had any desire of playing, guys from Detroit, for example, like Diallo or Saban Lee. I mean, you know that you're not going to be able. Well, not that you're not going to be able to, but it just it just takes another option away from playing what could be a better play later in the Chicago thing.
A better and cheaper play. Maybe we get Payne and Satoransky as the best plays. Because if you lose White and potentially LaVine, or even just White, then you got Satoransky. And I'm still speculative on the Chris Paul back-to-back versus Chicago, especially if Chicago rests some players. So that you really could end up cashing in on, as well as Patrick Williams kind of fitting in. And then obviously if anything like that happens with Paul, then you've got Booker, who's interesting. Then you've got, I mean, no matter what, Vooch and Ayton are already interesting to me. So I sort of like that as a theory, but try to make your lineups make sense with it. You know, don't just play like one guy in that game for the most part. Try to get like, you know, multiple guys that you have switches onto. Because I think Milwaukee's going to kill the Lakers, although I do have a couple. I still think Giannis can go nuts enough. But I do have a couple of those guys playing together, Giannis but you can immediately turn Giannis and Dennis Schroeder into what's his name? Booker and Vooch. Should things go with like we might think they might go.
I'll tell you who's I brought him up a couple of times in our noon thing. Maybe we should have talked more about him if LaVine is out. But if LaVine is out and White is out, I mean, let's not forget I think what could be a total misprice. Well, not misprice. You know, I mean, you're going to be getting Lauri Markkanen like under $5K with those guys out. You know, you could talk about Satoransky and Denzel Valentine and Patrick Williams. They're all going to be good plays. But Lauri Markkanen under $5K, I mean, he likes to shoot, man. He's going to pick up a lot of that. I think he's going to pick up a lot of that scoring load. I
think I am genuinely concerned about what the Bulls think they're doing with him, or if anybody else just didn't want him. I mean, the fact that this guy doesn't play minutes anymore. He had the perfect situation the other night when White was ruled out against the perfect matchup in Golden State. He played 22 minutes. So I'm not banking on that. Oh, John Wall is out. Christian Wood and Daniel House will play.
So that now, to me, really creates an elite play in Kevin Porter Jr.
Completely agree. I also think that I've got some John Wall lineups that I'm just going to switch that were with Harden. Just switch right over to Wood, and I feel good. I actually think Wood has the upside and will be overlooked anyway, to some extent. And it gets me exactly what I want. It's very easy pivot. I didn't think Wall was going to play anyway, but I agree with you about Kevin Porter Jr., especially on FanDuel. But I think that he's a great play on both sides. Let's
talk about FanDuel for a second. I don't want to say how much of a lock is, whatever, but how much are you playing of Andre Drummond on FanDuel?
So a lock would be a strong word for me. I'm afraid that because of the way the news is breaking, that maybe he's going to be a little more popular than everyone thinks. And if the Lakers get smoked here, the word is good on him. The word is that they'll limit Gasol's minutes, and it makes sense. When LeBron and AD come back, Gasol should be the starter, whatever. I think Drummond's going to get all the minutes he can handle in a close game tonight, basically.
I mean, I don't know what you were thinking on him as far as ownership goes, but I was thinking he'd be like 50% owned.
Well, that's pretty high.
I don't know where these ownership things are coming from. I mean, the guy's 5,200 and he's starting. I don't exactly understand how he's not going to be much higher owned than all this.
No, I'm not saying that I'm absolutely not against you on this. That was sort of the point I was making.
Right. Okay.
In which case, I'm more than happy to go play somebody elsewhere. What kind of minutes projections throughout the sites are you seeing on Drummond?
Yeah, again, I'm pretty shitty with that. I just have to end up with the actual projections. I don't drill them out.
That's fine. So what kind of overall?
So I got anywhere. I mean, mostly around the 35-point area. At 5,200, it's kind of rough.
That's tough to fade.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I still like the upside for Moses Brown and Robert Williams.
I like the upside for Vooch.
I love Vooch because I think that's the perfect kind of speculation. Like if they're going to run things right through him, no one is going to play him on FanDuel. No one. Can you believe you can just play chalk and play him? He's literally.
The one thing you could do if you want to do some funny business is you can play Drummond with, say, Giannis, for example. And then if you feel like it, you could pivot to Vooch and somebody else maybe from the Laker game.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could pivot, and I think if you added another player, from either side, you can really do some things. But maybe you only need to do that through the 5:30 game or the 8:30 Eastern game, because that's, I'm hoping by then we have some more of this news. And because it's a road game for Chicago, you certainly you tend to get those a little bit earlier than you do the home games, but still it's a little worrisome. But I hear you, man. I love the call.
See, this is the thing. So K9, thank you very much for that. K9 saying that RG has Drummond at 22 minutes.
That's wrong.
I would just say that wrong is whatever. I just feel as if you're trying to play GPPs, you're trying to figure out whether someone's got upside or downside from that. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like he's not that it's this binary, but I think that he gets 32 minutes, literally 800,000 times more than he gets 12 minutes. And that's really what this is all about, because everybody has actually the same projections. They're going to be adjusting things accordingly. And if you're basing it on a projection that is either too low or too high, that's where you could get some edge. And 22 minutes is seems a little thin.
Right. I mean, let's just think about how this works in a blowout, okay? Because I know this sounds like a lot to talk about an 11-game slate, but look, in my opinion, there aren't as many plays out there tonight, at least yet, as
well, that's in a blowout. That's what he'll get. I mean, because he'll play 8 minutes in the first quarter,
right?
And then he'll get 6 in the second, right? To make it 14.
Potentially even eight, though. I mean, yeah, sure.
Then he'll get 6 minutes to start the third to get him up to 20, then come out and never get back in the game.
I think it'll go differently. I think if they're being blown out, unless it's like 45 points, which is really hard to guess anybody to win by 40 plus points. If they're down by 20 some odd points in the third quarter, and he's obviously not going to be the issue. The team just doesn't have anything.
Right.
He's going to play the whole entire third quarter then.
Okay.
Then you're at 26 minutes at least, maybe 28. So that's the way. If what we're hearing from the Lakers is true, that he's going to get the minutes that he can handle, which is actually there's some coach speak. There's some talk about this. That is a real thing. I also feel that it's odd that so I'm playing a 1650 on FanDuel where I only have to beat 67 people. So I don't need to worry in that particular tournament about ownership, right?
Yep.
Not too much. You can literally play almost a cash game lineup, maybe take one different pivot, maybe skip Clarkson and play Conley instead, who will be a little lower owned. Maybe play Jimmy Butler, who will, guys in the 20s are fine in those kind of tournaments.
Yeah.
But Drummond, it's funny because it feels like a risky play to put in that lineup. But at the same time, I almost feel like maybe it's risky not to have him. And I think this is the sharper group of people who are going to play him a lot more. And I think his projections are going to start jumping as people throughout the industry.
I think that in the 1650,
I
think Andre Drummond's going to be 80%.
I think you're reaching a little bit, but I get it. I get it.
I'm exaggerating, right? But maybe.
Right.
But I mean, this is I think that's just the play that you're supposed to play. You know what I mean? If you're that kind of player, I think. What do I know?
No, I totally, but I completely agree with you. But it's
I'm
weird.
Not arguing. I'm just kind of just putting it out there.
It's weird though, because you might be giving up technically safer plays in guys like Williams, actually even Podol and Moses Brown. Maybe Podol's not safe for a guy who it's still a question mark. And in general, it just could go drastically either way, to be honest. You know what I mean? It's just, I could see that. I think what happens is when there gets to be that message, and it might be there, Drummond will start tonight, no minutes limit or something like that. That's when everything's going to pop through,
Right.
There's great pivots for big field tournaments. I just named a few of them. Chris Boucher being the longest shot version of the same thing. But you look at the centers. Vooch is like you mentioned, a freaking awesome play. Even if everybody plays and no ownership, 0 ownership sheets, right? That part you can say across the board, right? People are not playing Vooch.
No.
Love it. I think Vooch is just a fantastic play.
But how do you play him? You know what I mean? You put it. So you put him in the lineup.
He plays no matter what. That's it. You're good with him anyway. At 8,800, who are you comparing him around? Why isn't he going to outscore Gobert anyway?
Well, are we talking about FanDuel or DraftKings?
FanDuel.
Right. So what I'm saying though is that if you put him in, and then it turns out that say Zach LaVine plays, for example,
right,
then you could go to Drummond. Is what I'm saying.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
That's agreed. But even if Zach LaVine plays, it doesn't mean that Vooch isn't going to get there. You know,
No.
I still have pretty decent confidence in Vooch. And if those guys are ruled out, don't you think Phoenix is likely to rest somebody? Don't you just think it?
Yeah, you know what? You've alluded to that a couple of times, and it makes a lot of sense.
Let me just see one thing, though. I think we might have one. So I know obviously the Lakers and Bucks were supposed to be the televised game on ESPN tonight. But I don't know if they changed it. Let me just see ESPN schedule, NBA. Because if they changed it to Phoenix and Chicago, then that might be the one thing that keeps it from it being impossible to happen. Yeah, it's Milwaukee and the Lakers, which actually does even make me like Giannis more. And by the way, it's Dallas and Boston for the first game, which, you know, Luka's another one who plays great in these situations too. Yeah, so that's that part. Guys, throw some questions in the chat. Great to have you.
You know my dumbass optimizer is wanting me to play again.
Who's that?
It's Josh Hall.
I'm playing Josh Hall.
Oh, you are? Okay.
I'm absolutely willing to embrace that variance 100%.
Okay.
On draft, obviously.
And what about Kenrick Williams?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Not a ton. But I like the Josh Hall. I actually on DraftKings have some all the star spend up lineups, you know.
Oh yeah.
Harden. I have Harden and Luka and Giannis in the same lineup in a few of them because they're all too cheap. And if you get 200 between them, your other guys, there are some guys like, I mean, you take shots on Cameron Payne and guys like that at the moment, but there's going to be more value to open up. It just happens every night. We know it's going to happen.
Yeah, I want to see what my numbers look like with the Houston news. I don't have that yet. And did there any news come out of Miami or no? There's usually
we have no Kendrick Nunn, which is sort of, you know, we didn't know what was going to happen with that. So that makes Jimmy Butler, I mean, he was already a great play anyway, but it's a great play, even a better play now. There's lots of great plays, but I just want to say what I'm doing mostly. I really am hoping this Toronto OKC game stays close. There's too many guys in that game that I've got different exposures to in different lineups, and I've tried to construct as such. And I think that game has a chance to really go nuts, just because of the bodies available and the fact that Toronto plays fast and doesn't play defense anymore, and OKC tends to stay competitive even when they lose. And they, you know, we have lost Poku. We lost all these. By the way, don't be surprised if you hear about more OKC players being ruled out tonight too. I think it's a COVID thing. I don't know what they're saying for the guy I originally liked quite a bit, Ty Jerome, but I think he's probably going to be out. Pokuevsky, it was COVID. So unfortunately, like, I'm not going to play much of Svi, but I will have a tiny bit of it. I hate doing that. I really don't like doing it. But with all these guys, the minutes, if he gets to like 34 minutes, it's going to be kind of hard. But I'm also leaving Josh. I'm leaving what's his name in just in case. The Josh Hill thing, they could play him. They can mix things around and play smaller, or play him at the 3, or play even the way that Roby moves a little bit at the 3. Like Toronto is not like a team that plays extremely big, obviously, but with Siakam and Boucher out there for a good number of minutes, I just really like that whole game, that situation.
Trying to think if we can get. I mean, you're probably supposed to play a Harden, Porter, Wood lineup, no?
Harden, Porter, Wood. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to just get absolutely smacked around, but still, yeah, why not? I have a little bit of that for sure. Again, guys, drop in some questions when you got them. It's a little bit tricky because it feels like it's one of those days where you're waiting for information, and we just, in some cases don't have it yet.
Well, what you can do, but there are decisions you have to make because there is. I mean, that Detroit game does have a couple of plays,
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, given the fact that that there can be stuff opening up later, what that does for me is it really reduces Detroit to either Diallo, Saben Lee, or nobody. Like I'm not going to get to these other guys, I don't think.
Jeremy Grant on FanDuel is reasonable to me at 6,600.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like he was reasonable, but because of like the pushback vig, I think that's why I'm kind of dropping him. I think.
I like the way you're thinking, and it's exactly how I normally try to think about this stuff. So I agree.
And on the Portland side, I think I'm just kind of out.
Yeah, it sucks because we like these guys. We like the price. We like to take a shot, but I totally hear you. I'm the same way right now. So.
And what else is at 7? So at 7 also is Miami thing. And again, so what do you do? So Bam and Butler are good plays. I mean, you want to just start taking your stances there. You know what I mean? You want to start with the Butler or the Bam, and that's where your slate starts?
No, my slate starts entirely with Toronto. Like it doesn't even it's Fred VanVleet is my highest owned player on both sides.
But Toronto doesn't start till 8 o'clock.
Oh, what were you saying? I'm sorry. What was the question?
I'm just saying that I'm going in order of when they start.
Oh.
So the Miami game starts at 7 o'clock. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the only guys I'm really playing for Miami are Butler and Bam. And I'm only playing Bam on DraftKings, not FanDuel.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. If we're basically out on Detroit, Portland, well, we're not because we might play those other guys, right?
Right.
And then you got the Miami where you get Butler and Bam. You got the Houston Brooklyn game that starts at the same time. You got Lucas starting at the same time. So we got to get rolling. You know what I mean? Like we have to we got to sort of know what's going on.
Yeah, I hear you. I really hope that this Phoenix thing works out because like Chris Paul would be a good play tonight and he's cheap and he's going to be high owned on FanDuel, but here's another thing I'm trying to do. Okay, so I've got it. Let's just talk about my 1650 for a second because we can talk about FanDuel.
Sure.
If you have Conley, I don't like the idea in big tournaments of playing Conley and Clarkson together at all. But
I don't either. But this is a different situation, right?
67-man tournament, you can do it. But the thing I keep getting back to is if I'm already going to be playing VanVleet at least from Toronto, wouldn't I just want to play Maledon instead?
Ooh, see, that wasn't really one of the guys that I was.
He's 51 on FanDuel. And, we've seen some sporadic stuff, but the minutes will be there. The usage will be there, especially if Ty Jerome's out. And Popievsky. These are the other guys who create for them. So those assist numbers should be able to be higher. He should be able to initiate more offense. Even in a blowout, he probably gets decent run.
Yeah, I have him pretty good. And you think he's that much better play than Saben Lee? Same price?
On FanDuel?
Yeah.
I wouldn't even consider Saben Lee at that price.
Okay.
Saben Lee is a reach to me already a little bit.
Okay.
Also, like you said, it plugs it up. I can always shift and adjust if I do it differently. So here's and then so I end up getting stuck in the same last decision every time. Do I play in this lineup? Do I play Kleber and on the other side of that game, you could play Robert Williams or Brown, or do I play?
Wait, so hold on. Is he been officially ruled in or out yet?
Who?
Jaylen Brown?
No, I'm talking about Brown, Moses.
Oh,
Brown.
Moses Brown. I'm sorry. Okay.
Jaylen Brown is in.
Okay.
Expected to play is the official word.
Excellent.
So Kleber. So I could play Kleber, and I am in sort of a funny spot because I've just to give it away, I've got like $5K left in my power forward spot, and I've already got Roby in the lineup. So kind of going, okay, do I want to leave a little bit on the table and play Royce O'Neal, which I think is a fine play?
I think Royce O'Neal's an excellent play.
At 4,600, I'd leave a little bit on the table, but I could play Kleber, who I don't have as being hardly any different than Royce O'Neal. Royce O'Neal's slightly better. And actually per dollar, I think Kleber's probably better, but overall. And I could play Kleber with the other guy, with what's his name, with Robert Williams versus Drummond instead of Drummond.
Kleber and Robert Williams, or Drummond and probably it would be Royce O'Neal. Yeah.
Tough one, right? I mean, I think it's a tough one.
I think they both wind up similar.
Yep. I sort of have that too. But if we really think Drummond's going to be on look, I don't need to pivot off. I can also play Podol.
He is. I really, really believe that.
I believe you're probably right.
I'm just
So
trying to think who else. I don't really know who else anybody's going to play.
I mean, what's Robert Williams' floor here? Is it? I mean, it's probably
30?
like long 30.
30? I mean,
25 maybe. I mean, I don't know how he's going to play minutes.
yeah, he's going to play minutes, but Boston's got everybody. You know what I mean? I guess so.
Since this has happened, though, he's put up 48, 40, and 33 and a half on FanDuel.
He has
at 6,300, and we still have a question mark about Drummond. So I think I'm going to lean that way right now, actually, for the 1,500.
Now, what? Now, let me ask you a question. What exactly is the question mark about Drummond? Just because it's in our head, or is it?
It's in our head. There's like I mentioned what he could play because the blowout risk, and it could be less than what I said, but that's
okay.
It's somewhere between 24 and 28 minutes would be his downside. Maybe even a little lower depending on what happens.
Okay.
Vogel's funny. He doesn't always do the obvious thing, which has me a little bit nervous, I guess, about it.
Yeah, I tell you, I joke that Vogel's going to do is he's going to peg Drummond's minutes to 50% of his FanDuel ownership. So if he's 40%, he's going to play him 20 minutes.
Yeah. So
you
guys,
want him to play 30 minutes, you're going to have to make him 60% owned.
Yeah. It's one of those. Oh wait, we're getting news in here. Grayson Allen is out. Ty Jerome is out. Okay. All these OKC guys are going to start popping a lot more now. Let me just get Ty Jerome out of my lineups. I figured he was going to be out, but just in case he played, I loved him. I think that helps. I think that helps Hill, and I think that helps. I mean, obviously, unfortunately, it helps Svi.
It does help Svi, doesn't it?
It gets to be the point where, like, how many guards? They don't have the guards.
Yeah, there's no like Point Roby or something like that, right?
Yeah, seriously. Like, by the way, how good is this team with their, like, what is the word you would use? Reclamation project, I guess. These guys are amazing at it. Like, Isaiah Roby wasn't in the league. Moses Brown wasn't in the league. And now these guys, like, are not only in the league, they're signed to decent contracts.
I'll tell you something that's even more interesting. So there was, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a slate like a couple of weeks ago where OKC was down to 7 players. We didn't know if they were going to give 7 or 8. And we literally couldn't even – we spent 15 minutes to find out if Moses Brown was even on the roster.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was legitimate at the time because it was a real question. Yeah.
Yep.
But, yeah, I think that Porter – let's see if we put Porter in here. Somebody asked what do I think of Jalen McDaniels as a punter? I don't think I don't think his price puts him in punt range, but I think that he's a terrific tournament play. Not as good as a play as I thought he was the other day, but I don't think that it's optimal by any means. If that helps at all. Which
right.
Probably doesn't. The other guy who's popping up a little bit is Drew Eubanks, and his minutes fluctuate quite a bit. And partly he played some minutes in the blowout, but he sort of just played some minutes in some close ones too. So I would just say he's interesting a little bit. If you were going to do the whole punt away everything on DraftKings and play all the studs. I really think the studs are begging to all be played together. And because of the lack of like clean 3K value, it's interesting. We got another really good question. And the problem is, it's if Levine sits Troy Brown at 3K viable, absolutely Troy Brown is viable. I actually have Troy Brown in some lineups right now, speculating on that specifically. But even if it's just Kobe White, I still think I would take some shots on him. And then if I got better value later, I could switch off of that. It says K9 Bronco says it feels like watching the Jazz this year when Mitchell is out. Clarkson has a better game than Conley. It's actually I mean, they're both going to be really popular. Conley will be less popular, has the narrative going for him, will play more minutes. And by the way, there's been plenty of times where Clarkson's played really well, and he has to play really well. That's the thing. He's not going to get a million other stats. He has to score. So even with all these guys out, they still have other guys who can score. So I don't disagree, but I don't think you're right about like trying to go that route entirely. John Moran is going to be another guy I totally forgotten about who I love tonight, and everybody doesn't like playing Memphis. So I understand it. I just love John Morant. Would I play O'Neal over McDaniels on FanDuel? So McDaniels probably has the higher upside. O'Neal's a little safer. Do with that what you will in regard to the rest of your lineup. Thunder, yeah, we got the Thunder starting lineup: Maladon, Mikhailuk, Kenrich Williams. So Kenrich and Roby and Brown. So thanks for dropping that in there, Zane. I think that Kenrich Williams is definitely in play. I don't love his price, and he is a guy who really is up and down with his production, but definitely in play with all that, knowing all that. Sorry, I'm just going to edit my 555 on FanDuel, and then we can keep moving. All right. Why is this leaving it like this? Okay. Oh, because that's pretty funny.
Don't forget who also could be sneaky on. Well, not sneaky. I mean, if you set it up right and you take a shot early, and the Bulls news breaks the way you want, or excuse me, if the Suns news breaks the way you want, you could end up getting a pretty low-owned like smash play in Booker.
I love it. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I've got that already in there. And if just for some reason, if something weird happens with Drummond, or we get the word he's not like something, I'm trying to find if there's an in case.
If he's not starting, I'm not playing him. I mean, like,
yeah. I'm just seeing if there's an in case later in the day that we can switch him over to, even if we have to sacrifice something, and there really isn't. If you leave 100 on the table, you could play Brook Lopez, and that's actually fine. Actually, that's totally fine.
It's totally fine.
Especially against the Lakers going back to LA and all that. Like, yeah, absolutely. I think that would be fine. He's got to have a little bit of not that he's going to do much with it, but he'll take some shots from the outside, All right. I'm just fixing this other lineup here. And guys, yeah, keep dropping questions in because I will answer them as soon as I get in. Sheets will too. Like, we're just trying to find out this updated stuff. Yeah. I'd like to get the updated projections of the OKC situation.
Yeah, I don't have that yet.
What did I just miss? Why is DeAnthony Melton all of a sudden popping off?
Grayson Allen out.
I
presume.
Yeah, I guess, but that's a lot of minutes to allocate him. Okay, well, I mean,
he was looking okay earlier, though. Remember when I mentioned that?
I thought, yeah.
No, okay. You mentioned him, and then I was looking through when we were doing position by position. I noticed that he was actually looked like a,
Oh, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm on it. I'm in it. I'm into it. I like it. And wow, that's interesting. I mean, he's also the guy. I said that we could pivot over from what's his name from Svi, but Melton I would prefer. To Svi. There we go. Clarkson here. Luka. And Clarkson, Luka. Small forward.
It would be nice if you could if I actually did get a ceiling out of Morant when I wanted it.
Yeah.
It would be very, very accommodative.
It would be very nice. Well, you can definitely punt that small forward position, can't you, now on FanDuel?
And your guy on Chicago is still. I mean, the guy's dirt cheap. The
yeah, I'll play Patrick Williams for sure.
Yeah. And
again, he's got upside on everything because the usage could be a lot more with if those guys are out. He still won't have much usage, but just being on the court for 35 minutes if the game's close, and he plays a million minutes. So Siakam.
Whoa.
It probably is worth noting, by the way, that, obviously in case we didn't mention it, James Harden is playing against Houston. Now, it's not like he's playing in Houston, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, see. What if I did play Josh Hall on FanDuel? Okay.
What if you played Andre Drummond on DraftKings? Uh-oh.
Yeah, that would be wild.
Not for me, but
Yeah.
let me see what this looks like now.
Hall. Can I play him here? What do we have for Hall for minutes right now? I know it's a little bit unfortunate that he's like what is he at? A small forward on FanDuel? Yeah. Oh, well, that works well for me, actually.
45%. How much fee are you going to have on DraftKings?
Not very much. Some. Especially with this Melton stuff. Like, I think that I love Melton in general, so if we can expect some minutes out of him in a good game environment, I'm into it a little bit.
Josh Hall. Yeah, this works.
I believe there's fans in Memphis tonight, by the way. I don't have confirmation. So that's another thing that gives Mike Conley a little bit of love, I think.
Okay.
And I'm just saying the thing about Clarkson, like, it's obviously a great play. We know it's a great play, but everybody else does. If you're going to get a guy half owned, find a pivot route. All right, I'm editing my FanDuel before I do my big DraftKings. Let's see what I get him out. JER. And it's a very easy swap from Ty Jerome straight over to straight over to Melton. I still feel like they're overrating Melton's minutes, but he can definitely play those minutes. It's more fluid than I think it's being treated. I'm curious where Kenrich ends up as well. Can we get an update on this? Have you got any updates by any chance on those guys from Memphis?
Not yet. I will. I'll look at it.
I'll take a quick look while I'm uploading my stuff. All right. Ty Jerome is out. Yeah. Thunder will start. Okay. Randall on PF, a good FanDuel, a good pay up. I like Randall on FanDuel, Jamie. Good. Yeah. I think that's a solid play. Butler is definitely still in play on FanDuel. Is there anything I've missed that would have Butler out play on FanDuel? Because I really like Butler on FanDuel. He's in my big lineup, to be honest. So instead of Svi, we want to play Melton. This Melton thing is really going to keep me off of more. I need to get more jaw in my life. One other thing to keep in mind is if like Crowder, there's always a chance Crowder or Saric on the back-to-back could sit also and could open up some Cam Johnson minutes at 3,200 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
But I would prefer, again, the Cam Johnson, Patrick Williams on FanDuel, for example, you can always just rotate them. You can always just switch it if that doesn't happen. But if those guys, let's just say for some reason a couple guys are out, maybe you could switch from Patrick Williams over to Cam Johnson. I think I still like Patrick Williams better, but it's an option. It gives you an option at least. OG, OKC, Moses Brown. Maladon. Center is Pooch. Guys, you can pop questions and I'll try and answer them. And we'll try and answer them. I just want to keep reminding you.
I wonder why they haven't really announced that about Zach LaVine yet.
It's a good question.
He came right out and said, "Man, I think I need a rest."
They need to win games is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Another guy's going to be completely overlooked because of Kevin Porter on FanDuel, and that's not that he's some amazing play, but he is in that late game too. Is Mikal Bridges? I think is okay as part of that little game thing.
What do you think of Daniel House?
Yeah, not at this price, no.
Okay.
Clarkson. Shoot, I'm stuck in a funny little spot here. Yeah, I'm finding Booker and Vooch to be a common pairing for me a little bit, and I like on the other side. I have a lot of Satoransky and it's not like the coolest play in the world, but Satoransky mixed with Ayton.
You have any after all that? You have any Derrick Rose or no?
I have a little bit. I just don't know how I feel about it. I guess is why I'm pausing for so long. I do like OG, by the way. I mentioned that earlier, but I think he's a good play. Maladon over here.
You like Porter Jr. on DraftKings at all?
Otto Porter Jr.?
No, Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Okay.
All right, they don't need to have Williams and everything. He fits with the Chicago Phoenix drive. Okay. Wow.
Tell you something else. We should. I mean, you mentioned it 2 different times. But don't sell this. This Conley going back to Memphis short.
Exactly. I mean, he's got a long history with that city. Now that can occasionally work the other way too, but he's in a great spot anyway. So I'm rolling with it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have Clarkson too. I don't have them together very much, especially not on DraftKings, but on FanDuel, I think I have a lineup or 2 with them together, but in that I'll play Melton and I have a little bit of Brandon Clark to go with it with one Vooch. Okay, let's see something.
Fleet. All right, I'm gonna check out, see what I can come up with the OKC thing in a second. Let me just see this thing.
Now all the news is coming in. Pistons will start Lee, Josh Jackson, Bay, Grant. Josh Jackson starting after a DNP. Bay, Grant, and Plumlee.
Only in America.
No Diallo starting, so that might take away a little bit of Diallo love, which actually makes him probably a better play.
Yep.
Detroit, I'm just saying, we're getting into weird business because we don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't think they know what the hell they're doing, so it's another problem. It said Grant, yeah. Let me just make sure it said Grant. Yeah, it's like, if you're not starting Jeremy Grant right now, I don't know what's going on. Okay, we had Melton. I mean, the guy who's going to really make or break me probably tonight is going to be Fred VanVleet. Not make me, but he's going to break me if he misses. I just think he's in too good of a spot just to not play him. And I do have a few Markkanen things in there, but not too many in serious tournaments or anything.
Yeah, he had this whole speech about how he thinks he should be a starter and this, that, and the other thing.
Who's that?
Marketing.
Oh, I actually thought he was still starting. I didn't realize he wasn't
No,
starting.
it says he still sees himself as starter.
He is.
After being benched last game, he still believes the starter in this league. He was replaced in the starting lineup by Thaddeus Young on Monday against the Warriors. It's the second time in his NBA career that he came off the bench.
Wow.
I'm a team guy. I understand that Markkanen says that, of course, it's a little, well, what was this, my second game off the bench, so the rhythm of the game is a little different, but I'll do whatever I can. Play 22 minutes. Blah, blah, blah.
Brandon Clark is out, by the way. And so all these Memphis guys are going to be a little bit better than they were before.
One more OKC run. Let's see if I need to do anything dramatic.
Let's put in Clarkson.
Then so what do you think we're gonna? So what time is the first game tomorrow? 2:15 my time.
That's on DraftKings. On FanDuel, it's at 10.
Well, whatever you want to do, I could just let me know so I could.
Yeah, I think we could do up till lock for baseball at the 10 a.m. or the 1 p.m. your time,
Okay.
And then, so we'd be doing it at roughly whatever 12 or 12:30, whatever works.
12 my time.
Yeah, or 12:30, whatever is easier for you.
It's both the same. So we'll do 12 my time.
Yeah, and
And
then
we'll do an NBA preview at 1. Is that the story?
or because of the NBA, I think it's a smaller slate tomorrow. We could just do
You
the
want to
live.
just go live? Okay.
Yeah. Just it's going to be a confusing day. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be edits to make and all kinds of shenanigans.
Shenanigans, indeed. It's kind of freezing on me here a little bit.
Siakam, Kenrich. Let me know if you get an updated projection on that because I still haven't seen one yet.
I'm doing this right now.
Yeah. I know the Alec Burks tear came to an end, and we don't even know if we get word for some reason that Derrick Rose is out again. I would fire up Alec Burks again.
That makes sense.
I keep trying to look for Drummond, but I searched by Dwight Howard. I don't know why I'm doing that. I guess it's the Lakers center thing. I can't quite get the right thing.
Wait, so they have? Oh no, he's on Philly, right? I forget.
Kenrich.
Has he ever gotten there, Kenrich Williams? He has, right?
Oh yeah, and he's gotten there like in a crazy, massive way a few times. Like
okay.
The weirdest part is if Levine does play, I know that you're saying, and I agree with all this stuff, but 7,200 on FanDuel, if you play him with Van Fleet, I think is at least kind of interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, we got to get more Josh Jackson in the lineups.
We do? I guess so.
I mean, just there's upside there, It's may not be the most sexy thing in the world, but it's.
Oh, dude, coming off of a DNP coach decision, you know how much he's going to shoot the ball every time he touches the ball.
Starting too,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
He's going to relish every minute on that court.
I haven't gotten updated projections yet. Let me just check again. All right, real quick. While I'm doing that, I'll look in to see what you guys have in chat. Harden or Giannis, both have blowout risk. I would prefer Harden by a slight amount over Giannis, but because of positions, you can argue that Giannis is a better play. Very close. Saben Lee and Josh Jackson starting. Yep. Remember, Saben Lee, though, starting and playing 26 minutes is not, it's not like if Saben Lee was off the bench for 26 minutes, we'd be going, oh, look at Saben Lee. He just happened to play well the last game, made a shot.
Not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really make threes.
I mean, Josh Jackson would be clearly the better tournament play, I feel like, right? Like, I don't even think it's that close.
They're the same price?
Yeah. Well, on FanDuel, yeah. Let me see. I'm playing anybody from that game. Well, that's interesting, actually, because that does put D'Anthony Melton. I'm going to put Josh Jackson instead of D'Anthony Melton in a few of these things.
This is
Jackson, D'Anthony Melton.
DK. Let's see if there's anything different with OKC that I have. Obviously, we're going to do this.
They're really not updated.
We, Kenrick. Whoa, look who's popping. Justin Jackson?
What's he at, though? What's the
20 fantasy points? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's a good pivot off of my late game thing. How come they updated that? So Kenrich. Yeah, Kenrich is going to be the one who really pops, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many do you play?
We don't have to play all of them. They still have a few bodies. I also like Josh Hall a little bit better than I like Justin Jackson.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty close. Justin Jackson should play more minutes. Josh Hall probably can be more productive and might get more leash. And we've seen Justin Jackson just play minutes and do nothing so many times.
Do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
We'll do one more run with it.
Right.
20 then.
And even a little bit more Giannis than I thought I was going to end up on FanDuel.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It just like happens, right?
Yeah. I don't want to play 4 guys from any team. You know, they're kind of begging me to play is Hassan Whiteside. I just can't see it on the slate.
Yeah. Wait, who is it again? I'm sorry, Sheets.
They want me to play Hassan Whiteside for some reason. I just
it's one of those,
I just can't do it on the slate.
You know what? If that was like the last game instead of the 5:30 game, I think that there's some merit to just because you never know, like then you can always pivot to somebody else if you have a good lineup running.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, Bojan Bogdanovic is not going to be owned. Not that he was going to be crazy owned, but he's definitely not going to be owned like he was before. At all. Like he was going to be probably double digits. Now he'll have no ownership because of Kenrich.
The other thing, by the way, about the Hamidou Diallo is that, I mean, a lot of his fantasy points came from stuff that really isn't going to get duplicated. Like he had a lot of stuff go on. He had like a bunch.
He does that though, doesn't he? You know,
I guess
that's the only thing about him that like worries me is like he always sort of does that. Okay, so who are the 4.4 guys on? Okay, so Kenrich is how much? Is on DraftKings. For
that's fine. And then we'll do.
I have some lineups that don't start till 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
I mean,
that's a good feeling, man. It really is,
isn't it? Especially the way things have been breaking out lately. I feel like it feels solid.
Max flexibility.
Yeah. Conley, Porter, no Diallo. Yeah, so I think the Kenrich Williams is clearly a better play than Diallo at this moment.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yep.
You got a heaping bunch of them on DraftKings.
Literally in my main lineup, I have 6 players in that game on DraftKings.
Yeah, I've had to make a rule that only max 3 of anybody, of any
I just
team.
think Toronto opens up enough opportunity, and if Moses Brown, Roby is the one thing that maybe you're asking a little too much for both of them, and then maybe even still, I don't mind it.
This isn't going to change things too much. I don't think the OKC news is going to change my FanDuel bill too much. I don't really have too much of the OKC stuff on FanDuel.
You don't have too much of the OKC on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's put over here. I'm going to go even more. I'm going to put 5-7 guys from that game.
There it is.
I mean, look, man, you know how this is. You can win tournaments this way.
Yes, you can.
We've done it before. And then oh my goodness, you got Gary Trent on the other side too?
Yeah, Trent is fine.
Yeah, but it's part of the game stack, which is what I've got. So I'm into it. It's like that game stacked with Conley.
Derek White. I don't want to play Derek White. Not today.
Not today, my friend. I will play him on my fantasy team. Robert Williams is out. Hold on. Change everything. This is important. So the natural.
What does that mean to the average man?
I don't know who the hell is going to play the big for Boston right now, to be honest with you. But I do know that I need to get Robert Williams out of my lineups.
Probably going to be Tatum, right?
So
is it taco season?
Robert Williams in the 1650. Here we go. I mean, they don't need to play big against Dallas, but bigs, I don't know. That's weird. That's one of those, I don't know. We couldn't see that one coming exactly. So that does make Dwight Howard. There I go again. We are going to put Drummond in there. That is going to make Drummond, like, now he's definitely going to be right where you had him. And he, not that he wasn't anyway, but he just really is going to be now. All my favorite 5K guys other than Roby are taken. I got nothing I can do here. Maladone. You like cheap point guards on FanDuel other than Clarkson, Maladone? Derrick Rose is out. Thanks, guys, for getting it to us 2 minutes before.
Derrick Rose has been ruled out.
I know who it is. It's pretty easy, actually. But there's nobody in that mid-range on.
I think I have one Derrick Rose lineup on DraftKings, which I have to address. $2 minutes, huh? No Robert Williams, so that's fine. Eric Rose is out. I mean, not to be too fancy, but Quigley's probably a good play.
Yep. Alec Burks too.
All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here, but it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, safe to say.
Good luck, everybody. I guarantee you these lineups don't even resemble what they're going to look like at the end of the night. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Good luck to everybody.